She cheated, in our garage, with the delivery guy. I caught everything on camera. I never thought I'd be writing something like this. I've always been a pretty chill guy, not the overthinking type. Been married for 5 years to a woman I thought was my best friend. We don't have kids. That was kind of a mutual decision, at least, I thought it was mutual. Life felt steady. Boring, maybe, but steady. I work in IT, long hours at a desk. She's more of a free spirit, did some part-time modeling, bounced between yoga and nutrition coaching, that sort of thing. Always on the move, always talking to people. Anyway, about 8 months ago, we started using this local courier service. I'd order parts for work sometimes, and she'd get all kinds of packages: skincare, candles, clothes she'd never even wear. She always acted extra friendly with the delivery guy, waving at the window before he even rang the bell. Said his name was Gabe. Seemed like a regular dude. Young, kind of scruffy, drove one of those beat-up vans you see everywhere. She'd crack jokes about how he looked like a lost Hemsworth brother or something. I'd laugh it off. Over time, I noticed Gabe showed up more often. Even when I didn't remember us ordering anything. I figured maybe she was just shopping a lot. She'd say it was returns, or she forgot she ordered something last week. I didn't question it. Honestly, I was neck-deep in a project at work and barely had energy to care. That's on me. Looking back, there were little things. She started dressing nicer around the house, even when we weren't going out. Her phone would light up constantly, and she always tilted the screen away. Her mood swings got sharper, like she'd be laughing 1 minute and snapping the next. But I chalked it up to stress, hormones, whatever. I didn't want to be that guy who accuses his wife of cheating just because she's acting weird. Still, there was this growing tension in the air. I'd catch her staring out the window more often. Sometimes she'd disappear for a while and come back flustered, out of breath. Said she went for a run or to the store. I believed her. I trusted her. God, I was such an idiot that it happened on a Thursday. I remember because it was the first time in a while I left work early. Some system maintenance finished ahead of schedule, and I figured I'd surprise her. Maybe we'd grab dinner, go for a drive, something to shake us out of the weird funk we'd been in. I pulled into our street around 4 p.m. Her car was in the driveway. Nothing strange there. What caught my eye was the white courier van parked 2 houses down, half hidden under a tree. My stomach dropped a little. I don't know why. Maybe some sixth sense kicking in. I walked up to the house. Front door was locked, but I have my key. Stepped inside and immediately noticed something was off. Quiet, too quiet. Not even music playing, and she always had something on in the background. I called her name. Nothing. Went upstairs. Empty. Checked the kitchen, same. Then I passed by the garage door and saw it cracked open just enough to peek through. I should have walked away. I wish I had. But I opened it. And there they were. Her, half-dressed, straddling him in the back of his van. The damn thing was parked inside my garage like it belonged there. Like he belonged there. They didn't see me at first. Took a few seconds before she noticed, and when she did, she screamed like I had done something wrong. Scrambled to grab her clothes, yelling something I couldn't even process. He looked stunned, like a deer in headlights. Didn't say a word. I didn't punch him. Didn't yell. Just stood there, watching the life I built crack in two. She chased me inside, still trying to get dressed, rambling about how it wasn't what it looked like, and how I pushed her to this. Then came the tears. The hysterics. She fell to the floor like a damn soap opera, screaming about how I didn't pay attention to her anymore, how he made her feel seen. I stood there, numb, watching the performance. It wasn't real. None of it. I could see it in her eyes. She wasn't sorry. She was mad she got caught. I walked into the bedroom, packed a bag, and told her I'd be sending divorce papers. That's when she really lost it, smashed a vase, screamed about how I was abandoning her, accused me of being emotionally abusive. Said I spied on her. Like walking into my own damn garage during daylight hours was some sneaky tactic. She kept yelling as I walked out the front door. I didn't look back. After walking out, I crashed at my buddy Matt's place for the night. I didn't tell him everything, just that I needed a place to stay. He didn't ask questions, just handed me a beer and the Xbox controller. That silence? Probably the most comforting thing I'd felt in weeks. The next morning, my phone had like 15 missed calls and a wall of texts from her. The first few were dramatic apologies. Then came the guilt trips. Then the angry ones. She bounced between, "Please come home," and "You never loved me," like a broken record on fast forward. I ignored them all. The thing is, I wasn't even angry. Not yet. I was more disconnected. Like my brain hadn't caught up to what happened. I kept replaying the garage scene like it was someone else's life. Some unlucky idiot who trusted the wrong person. I took a few days off work. Talked to a lawyer. Set the wheels in motion. But here's the thing they don't tell you: once you start to really pay attention, the lies show up everywhere. Like that time she said she was going to a friend's baby shower 2 months ago, but I remembered she came home without any photos or stories, and that dress she wore looked a lot like the one from today. Or how she suddenly got into long walks around the block but would come back with perfect hair and fresh makeup. It wasn't just Gabe. Or maybe it was, but it felt bigger. Like this had been going on way longer than I ever guessed. I finally told Matt everything. He didn't even act shocked. Said he'd seen her out once with some dude who wasn't me, but didn't want to stir up trouble. That hit me hard. Not because he didn't tell me, but because I realized other people saw what I couldn't. I kept thinking I hit rock bottom already, but I was wrong. Because 3 days later, I got an alert from my home security app. Motion detected in the garage. And what I saw in the footage. That shook me worse than catching them. So I had this security cam set up in the garage. Nothing fancy, just something I installed last year after someone tried to break into a neighbor's car. It ran on motion detection and uploaded clips to my cloud. Honestly, I forgot it even existed. Until that day. I was half scrolling through my phone, trying to zone out, when a notification popped up: motion detected garage 3:16 p.m. Now remember, I hadn't been home in days. She was still living in the house while I stayed at Matt's, working on the divorce paperwork. I clicked the clip out of curiosity, expecting maybe a raccoon or something. What I saw. Gabe. Back in the garage. Only this time, he wasn't sneaking around. He walked in like he owned the place, confident, relaxed. My wife followed behind him, laughing, holding iced coffees like it was a damn date. They stood there talking, real cozy, then started reorganizing my stuff. Tools. Storage bins. Like they were making space. At one point, she pulled out one of my old hoodies from a box, held it up, and laughed. Like it was trash. I watched her toss it aside and wrap her arms around him. Then get this, they laid out a mattress. A freaking mattress. In my garage. Like it was a studio apartment now. My hands were shaking. Not from rage, not yet. It was that kind of slow-building fire, where your skin gets cold first. Like your body knows something is deeply wrong before your brain catches up. She wasn't just cheating. She was moving on, replacing me. Right under my nose, right in my own damn house. It wasn't about love. It wasn't even about Gabe. It was disrespect on a whole different level. That night, I sent the footage to my lawyer. Told her I wanted everything. The house. The car. Every piece I could take, I wanted it. Because this wasn't a broken marriage anymore. This was war. The day after I sent the garage footage to my lawyer, I went back to the house. Not to confront her. Not even to grab more stuff. I just needed to see it. One last time. The place I called home for 5 years. The place that was slowly being turned into some twisted Airbnb for cheaters. She was home when I pulled up. Sitting on the porch, legs crossed, sipping wine like it was a casual Sunday. I hadn't even made it halfway up the driveway when she jumped up and launched into a full-blown emotional ambush. Started with the crocodile tears. I miss you. I don't know what came over me. He meant nothing. Then, just like flipping a switch, rage. You abandoned me. You're making this worse than it is. This is your fault. Yeah. My fault. She got half naked in the garage with the damn courier. I didn't say much. Just stared at her while she spiraled. She paced like a cornered animal, throwing her hands in the air, muttering stuff about how I was cold and robotic and how Gabe made her feel alive. That line stuck with me. Not because it hurt but because she believed it. She genuinely thought this dude, who delivers packages for a living and apparently sleeps on mattresses in married men's garages, was some sort of spiritual awakening. Then came the weirdest twist. She tried to kiss me. No joke. After all that, after the betrayal, the screaming, the gaslighting, she walked up like we could just rewind everything and pretend the mattress thing never happened. I took a step back. That's when she lost it completely. Screamed at the top of her lungs. Knocked over the wine glass. Started throwing things from the porch into the yard, pillows, her phone, anything she could grab. It wasn't even about me anymore. She was just unraveling. The neighbors peeked out from behind their curtains. She noticed. And suddenly, the tantrum stopped. She froze mid-breath, ran inside, and slammed the door. And I stood there, silent, thinking. She's not sorry. She's just embarrassed. And that's when I realized. I never really knew the woman I married. After that porch meltdown, I didn't go back to the house again. I blocked her number. Let the lawyer handle everything. The plan was simple: get the divorce finalized, get the house, and cut her out completely. No more drama. No more scenes. I thought I was finally in control again. But like everything with her, nothing was ever that simple. About a week later, I got an email from a burner account. No subject. Just a short message. You don't know the half of it. Check your credit. That was it. I almost ignored it, but curiosity got the better of me. I logged into my credit report. And there it was. 2 credit cards I never opened. One with charges going back 6 months. Spa visits. Hotel rooms. Uber rides at 2 a.m. Jewelry. Meals for 2 at high-end restaurants. All in my name. All while I was at work, grinding 12-hour days thinking I was building a future for us. I felt sick. I called the bank and reported the fraud. They flagged the accounts. Said they'd investigate. But something in my gut already knew they weren't stolen cards. She opened them. Probably used my info when I left paperwork around the house. Social, license number. It wouldn't have been hard. I called my lawyer right after. Told her to push for financial fraud in the divorce. She said we could go after damages. I wanted to laugh. Damages? As if anything could undo this mess. But here's where it got darker. A few days later, Matt texted me. Dude, check out this Instagram. You're not gonna believe it. It was a new account. Only a few posts. But I knew the face in every one of them. Gabe. Posting selfies. In my house. Feet on my couch. Wearing my hoodie. Cooking breakfast in my kitchen. Captioned like some corny rom-com, lazy Sunday with my queen. And there she was in the background of one pic, wearing nothing but my old flannel shirt. They weren't hiding anymore. They were celebrating. That's when it hit me. They thought they'd won. They thought I was weak. And that's when I decided I was gonna bury them both. The right way. No yelling. No fights. Just quiet, brutal consequences that I'm not the revenge type. At least, I wasn't. But something about seeing that smug, patchy-bearded idiot cooking eggs in my kitchen like he built the place, it flipped a switch in me. Not rage. Not sadness. Just pure focus. I decided I'd stop reacting and start strategizing. First move. I dug deeper. I hired a private investigator. Cost me a chunk, but totally worth it. Told him I didn't just want dirt, I wanted the whole damn garden. Names. Dates. Receipts. Anything I could use in court or to shut this circus down once and for all. Turns out, Gabe wasn't just a courier. He was also her trainer. Some weird side hustle gig she hired him for a few months back to help her get in shape. Supposedly he built this Instagram fitness persona and gave her personalized plans. I checked the page. It was a joke, six-pack selfies and motivational quotes ripped from Pinterest. The PI followed them for a week. Caught them going to a sketchy cash-only motel on the edge of town. Multiple times. During the day. While I was at work. They weren't even trying to be slick. One time, they left the motel, then hit a smoothie bar like they just finished a workout. Disgusting. Here's where it got interesting. PI sent me photos of them meeting another couple one night, some kind of weird double date thing. I didn't recognize the other two, but from their body language, it looked intimate. That's when it hit me. She wasn't just cheating. She was living a whole other life behind my back. Like, a full-on, alternative identity situation. With a new crew, new habits, and apparently no shame. So I did the next logical thing. I stopped paying the mortgage. Now, before you think I went off the rails, remember, the house is legally mine. Bought it before we married. But ever since this all started, I've been covering every bill while she lived there like it was some free resort. Not anymore. I redirected everything through my lawyer. Froze joint accounts. Cut all access to cards. Turned off the streaming services, Wi-Fi, even the power in the garage. Petty? Maybe. Strategic? Absolutely. Let them sweat a little in their romantic mattress cave. But the best part? I was just getting warmed up. So I figured cutting off the gravy train would rattle them. I expected angry texts. Maybe another one of her public meltdowns. But I didn't expect Gabe to show up. It was a Saturday morning. I was staying at Matt's place still, sipping coffee in the kitchen when someone started pounding on the front door like they were the cops. Matt looked at me like, "You expecting someone?" I wasn't. I opened the door and there he was. Gabe. Same shaggy beard. Same crooked grin, but this time, the dude looked pissed. And nervous. Weird mix. Before I could even say a word, he starts running his mouth. Said I was ruining her life, that she was falling apart, and that I needed to stop messing with them. I didn't respond right away. Just watched him unravel. Because here's the thing, I expected arrogance. Maybe even a threat. But what I saw? Panic. Real, chest tightening, sweat on his neck panic. He wasn't just mad. He was scared. He said she'd been acting off. Said she started yelling at him, accusing him of sabotaging the relationship. Claimed he was trying to replace her now that the house was slipping away. She was spiraling, apparently. Crying one minute, throwing things the next. Saying I was haunting her, even though I hadn't set foot near her since that porch incident. She was talking about lawyers, bad men, saying she knew too much and that I was going to take everything from her. Well, she wasn't wrong. Gabe finally shut up, and I told him flat out that I didn't care what happened to either of them. That every move they made from now on, I'd already planned for. I said it calm, measured. And that seemed to really scare him. He backed away without another word and left. Matt, who was watching from the kitchen window, just let out this low whistle. "Bro," he said, "that guy looks like he just realized he stepped in quicksand." And honestly, he did. Because here's what Gabe didn't know. My lawyer had just discovered something big. Bigger than cheating. Bigger than the credit fraud. And it had nothing to do with love. When my lawyer called me, she sounded different. Not her usual cool, professional tone. There was this edge in her voice, like even she couldn't believe what she was about to say. She'd gone over some documents tied to our joint accounts and background info for the divorce. Just standard legal prep. But she dug a little deeper into one of the tax forms my wife filed last year, trying to get ahead of any financial surprises. Turns out, my wife had listed herself as single on multiple legal documents. Not married, filing separately. Single. As in, pretending like I didn't even exist on paper. But it gets worse. On a loan application she filled out just 4 months ago for a car, by the way, a car I didn't even know she had, she put down a different address. Not ours. Not her parents'. Not a friend's. Gabe's. I didn't even know he had a house. Turns out he was renting a tiny duplex on the edge of town, and she'd been using it as a secondary residence under a fake lease agreement. A fake lease she wrote herself. I swear I'm not making this up. She created a paper trail that made it look like they were living together while still living in my house and draining my bank account. Why? Because she'd applied for some kind of assistance program. Financial aid. Housing credits. Government support for single low-income couples. She was committing actual fraud. Using my name, her fake lease, and some cooked-up numbers to qualify for stuff she didn't need because she had me funding her whole life. Suddenly, everything clicked. The shopping sprees. The random packages. The extra cash she always seemed to have. She wasn't just playing me emotionally. She was playing the system. And the wildest part? Gabe had no idea. He thought he was just the rebound guy. Maybe the next real one. But he was part of a bigger scam, and now his name was in the mix, too. My lawyer said this could turn into a full-on investigation. Real charges. Fines. Maybe even jail. And honestly, for the first time since this all started I smiled. Not out of revenge. But because I realized. She finally played herself. After I got off the phone with my lawyer, I just sat there for a while, letting it all sink in. She'd lied about being single. Lied to the government. Lied to me. Built this whole fake reality around herself and Gabe like it was a rom-com with a criminal subplot. And now that it was catching up to her, she did what she always does when things stop going her way. She ran. Not metaphorically. Literally. The next morning, I get another alert from the garage cam. Yeah, I turned it back on, figured why not. Never hurts to have an eye on what used to be mine. The footage shows her dragging out luggage. Multiple bags. Like, not spending the weekend at mom's, bags, airport bags. She's rushing, looking over her shoulder, stuffing the trunk of her car with clothes, boxes, and what I think might have been my old PlayStation. Real subtle. Gabe's nowhere in sight. Then, 5 hours later, I get a call from my lawyer again. Apparently, my wife called her, rambling about how she didn't feel safe, and she needed to get out of town, and how she refused to be controlled anymore. Controlled? Lady, you've been squatting in my house, committing financial fraud, and hooking up with the Amazon guy like it's your part-time job. No one's controlling you. You're just facing consequences. Anyway, my lawyer tells her flat out, don't leave the state. There's an active investigation. She's been served. If she skips town, she's gonna make things way worse for herself. But she hangs up. Of course she does. I drive by the house later that day just to see what's what. She's gone. Garage half open. Lights off. Mailbox overflowing. She left in such a rush she forgot her cat. No joke. The damn cat was sitting in the window, meowing like, "Yo, where'd everybody go?" I took him with me. Didn't feel right leaving him behind. Plus, he always liked me better anyway. Later that night, Matt sends me a screenshot. Guess who made a new Instagram account? Yup. Her. New handle. New bio, healing. Growing. Living my truth # new chapter. And the location? Some beach town 5 hours away. She really thought she could just reset her life, slap on a filter, and become some inspirational girl boss while leaving behind a trail of lies and debt. But what she didn't realize. She left something behind. Something way more damaging than her cat or her dignity. And I had it get this after her great disappearing act, I went back to the house with my lawyer's approval and the court papers in hand. Officially, the property was mine again. She'd been served. She was gone. Game over. Or so I thought. The place was a mess. Empty wine bottles, dirty dishes, laundry everywhere. Like a hangover in house form. I wasn't planning to stay long, just lock the doors, check the utilities, maybe clean up the garage. But then I found the box. Tucked in the back of the closet, behind her old yoga mats and some dusty boots she probably forgot she owned, was this little plastic bin. I wouldn't have thought twice about it, except it had my name scribbled on the lid in faded marker. Weird, right? I popped it open and man. That's when things got real. Inside were folders. Neatly labeled, organized, and sealed. Old pay stubs of mine. Tax forms. Bank statements. Photocopies of my ID. Stuff she shouldn't have had. Stuff she definitely didn't need for any normal reason. There were also notes. Handwritten. Like little scripts she'd written out. Lines like, "Say he's emotionally distant. If he finds out about Gabe, flip it on him fast. Make sure to cry. Save screenshots, twist texts if needed." I'm not joking. She'd planned everything. Rehearsed it. But the worst part? There was a flash drive taped to the bottom of the box. I didn't open it right away. I waited until I got back to Matt's and had my laptop with me. I figured it was just photos or something stupid. It wasn't. It was audio recordings. Of me. Conversations I barely remembered. Some from years ago. Normal arguments every couple has, but she'd secretly recorded them, chopped them up, edited them to sound one-sided. She was building a case. Probably to use if the divorce didn't go her way. Like she knew one day she'd need to weaponize the past. I sat there in silence, staring at the screen, heart pounding. This wasn't just betrayal anymore. It was premeditated manipulation. I sent the files to my lawyer immediately. She responded with 3 words. "We've got her." Court day finally came. By then, I was running on fumes mentally, emotionally. But I had the flash drive. The financial records. The fake lease agreements. The screenshots. The PI report. Everything. I wasn't just ready. I was loaded for war. She showed up late, of course. Waltzed in like it was some casual brunch with a judge, wearing oversized sunglasses and this long white coat like she was some misunderstood celeb. Gabe was nowhere in sight. Word was they'd split. Shocker. She tried to play the victim right off the bat. Claimed I'd abandoned the marriage, that I was cold, detached, and that she only found comfort elsewhere because of the emotional neglect. But when my lawyer dropped the bomb, her whole energy cracked. We played one of the audio recordings. One where she was clearly setting me up, repeating scripted lines she wrote in her notes. The judge raised an eyebrow. Then came the tax fraud. Then the fake lease. Then the financial aid applications. By the time we showed the photos of her and Gabe at the motel while I was at work, on the same day she claimed she was volunteering at a shelter, she started to unravel right there in court. Tears. Yelling. Denial. Accusations. She even screamed that I had hacked her life. I think the judge actually laughed at that one. In the end, I got everything. The house. The car. All debts she ran up. Hers. The court also flagged her for fraudulent filings. She's now facing an investigation that could lead to criminal charges. Her new chapter on Instagram. Yeah, it's about to be booked under Legal Drama Weekly. And me? I walked out of that courtroom calm. No gloating. No final words. Just peace. Funny how the loudest revenge is silence with receipts that I figured I'd never see Gabe again. After court, after the meltdown, after the Instagram sob stories, he vanished from everything. Deleted all his accounts. No more selfies. No more hashtags. Just poof. Gone. But 2 weeks after the hearing, guess who shows up? Yeah. Him. I was out back at the house, my house now, trying to fix the fence she never stopped complaining about but also never lifted a finger to help with. I heard a car pull up, turned around, and there he was. Standing there like a kid who just crashed his bike into the neighbor's mailbox. He looked different. Shaved beard. Nervous. Palms in his pockets like he didn't know what to do with his hands. I didn't say anything, just waited. He finally spoke. Said he was sorry. Said he had no idea what she was doing behind the scenes. That he found out about the fake paperwork when he got a letter about the fraud investigation. That she'd used his address on at least 3 different forms without asking. Then he said something that actually caught me off guard. He told me she tried to blame him for everything. Said it was his idea, that he encouraged the fake applications. That she told investigators he manipulated her into lying. The woman who literally wrote cue cards to fake arguments somehow turned the tables again, this time on him. He said he'd lost his courier job. Landlord gave him notice. His name was now attached to a mess of paperwork with federal flags on it. And he looked me dead in the eye and said, "She ruins everything, man." I didn't disagree. He stood there a few more seconds, like he wanted. I don't know, closure. Forgiveness? Some kind of cosmic high five for realizing he'd been used. But I just nodded and said, "Good luck." Then I walked back to the fence and got to work. Because I'm done wasting time on broken people. Let them fix themselves for once. Just when I thought it was finally over, papers signed, house quiet, everything in my rearview mirror, I got one last surprise. An envelope. No return address. Just my name, handwritten. No stamps either, which meant someone dropped it off personally. Probably her. She always loved the dramatic touch. I stood there in my kitchen, the one she once turned into her cheating ground, just staring at it for a second. Part of me didn't even want to open it. Felt like touching something toxic. But curiosity wins, like it always does. Inside was a letter. Not typed. Handwritten. Pages of it. At first, I thought it was going to be another attempt to gaslight me. Another poor me monologue. But no, it was worse. It was desperate. She wrote that she had nothing left. No friends. No money. Gabe was gone. Her parents weren't talking to her. The fraud investigation was getting too real, and she didn't know what to do. She said she missed us, that we were better when it was just the 2 of us against the world. She said she'd messed up, but I could tell she still didn't really get why. It was all written in this twisted fairy tale language, like we were characters in a tragic romance and she just made one bad choice too many. The last page. She asked if there was any chance I'd take her back. That we could start over. That she'd do things right this time. I didn't write back. Didn't call. Didn't even text. I just folded the letter, walked out to the fire pit in the backyard, and watched it burn. That was the real ending. Not court. Not the house. Not even Gabe's fall from grace. The real ending was that letter turning to ash because it reminded me one final time that she wasn't sorry she did it. She was just sorry she lost that. It's been a few months since I burned that letter. I haven't heard from her since. No texts. No fake accounts. No dramatic voicemails. Just silence. And for the first time in a long time, I like it quiet. The house is different now. Not just because I gutted the garage and repainted every room she ever touched. It just feels different. Peaceful. Like the air's lighter somehow. No tension. No walking on eggshells. No wondering who she's texting or where she went for a walk. Just me. I got the locks changed. Donated everything she left behind. Even her cat's doing better. He doesn't cry at the window anymore. Just follows me around like he owns the place. I won't lie. Some nights are hard. Not because I miss her, but because I still catch myself asking how I didn't see it sooner. How I let it drag out. How I confused chaos with passion. Manipulation with love. Lies with loyalty. But healing's not linear. Some days you feel strong. Other days you remember the garage and feel like you're back at square one. Still, every day is mine now. I make my own decisions. Set my own pace. And I've got no one lying next to me pretending they love me while building a life behind my back. The crazy part? I don't even hate her anymore. Because to hate someone, you have to still care. And I don't. She's not my villain. She's just a lesson. A brutal, expensive, soul-punching lesson. But one I won't forget. So if you're reading this, and you're in a situation that feels off, but you keep making excuses, brushing things under the rug, don't ignore your gut. I did. And it almost cost me everything. But I came out of the fire better. Smarter. And finally free.